So we're going to talk about how to get your roof replaced by insurance, and that's not an easy feat these days, especially in Florida where it's almost impossible and every roof claim gets denied. But this is only where this video is going to be good for, only where the roof is damaged. Not if you have damaged interior home or you're dealing with any other issues inside the house. If you have any leaks in the house and it's really just your roof, as what we see here in this picture, this video is for you. So my name is Mike Keeler. I happen to be a licensed public adjuster in the state of Florida. And I'm here, I try to give people a little bit of insight, help, information, tips on different homeowners claims. Okay, so when we're talking about only the roof being damaged, we've got to make sure that there's some perils or losses to which your roof is damaged by. Hail, a storm, non-hurricane, and any other type of weather events. Now, it could also be damaged from a hurricane, so don't get me wrong. All right, but usually when there's a hurricane, there's a lot more damage other than just the roof. Not all the time. The last two hurricanes that we've had, Milton and Helene, just a little over a month ago here in Florida. Some people just had roof damage, maybe fence and everything else, but we're talking about only a roof being damaged, so it's going to be doubtful that it'll be a hurricane. But you could have some other type storms or weather events that makes it within that field of a higher degree of wind. Wind is a huge component in all this if you're not talking about hail. Okay, remember this. One of the most important things you need to do is make sure you have the right date of loss. It's the most important thing. This is the biggest thing that I find as far as errors as to why somebody's claim ends up being denied. You cannot report the date of loss when you notice the damage. Let me repeat that. You cannot report the date of the loss the day you notice the issues. The date of loss needs to be when the bad weather developed. What was that date? Okay? So, give you an example. Let's say there was a storm that came July 1st. Whole neighborhood got a lot of damage. It was some freak windstorm with rain. And you notice a few months later you start to get a leak. Or you notice that shingles are missing now. Whatever the case might be. You just notice it's a couple months later. So let's say you call the insurance company November 1st. So it's a few months later. All right. You cannot use the date of loss as November 1st. You're just reporting it on November 1st. The date of loss has to be when this storm happened, which would be July 1st. So I really want to go over this because this is where a lot of screw-ups happen when people are reporting claims. So one thing you always want to do is make sure you get, before you file a claim, in my opinion, is get an opinion from a roofer or a roofing contractor on the damage. Does the roof need to be replaced or is it only a repair? A lot of that has to do with, depends on, because it does make a difference, again, the wind or hail, right? So most of these guys, when I talk about guys, I'm talking about roofers, yeah, they definitely want to go and they make more money out of the replacement, but usually if the roof's under 10 years old, they will shoot you the right way and say, well, it only needs repair. Okay, but if it has been substantially damaged from a wind event, most of them I find out usually will tell you it needs to be replaced, and they're probably right. If you don't feel comfortable with an opinion on one roofer, get another roofer's opinion. That's all. But if you get two or three and they're all pretty much are the same opinion, the roof needs to be replaced, then that's kind of what I would go with for the claim when you're going to try and get the roof replaced by the insurance company. Don't forget to like, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. And we're going to get into what you need to do to try and get your roof paid, but these are just some things that I want to go over that I think are important before that happens. So does the math make sense? Right? Most shingle roofs fall within the $13,000 to $30,000 price range for middle class Americans. This is common. If it's not a hurricane, your deductible is going to be more reasonable. Here in Florida, if it's hurricane related, your deductible is probably going to at least be, most people I see are $4,000 or more. If it's not from a hurricane, no matter where you're at, including Florida, the deductible is going to be more reasonable. So that makes the math easier to comprehend and see if it makes sense. If your roof is over 10 years old, all right, shingle roof older than 10 years old, expect a pretty hefty amount of depreciation to be taken. It all depends on the insurance company. Remember, depreciation is a mythical creature. There's no table that says what the depreciation should be, so you can negotiate that if they try taking too much. And you should, because there is no table. There is no table if you go into a court of law. Okay, here's a standard table. No, there isn't. It's all pretty much whatever the insurance company wants to say it is. So you have an over roof, you can expect more depreciation taken. And then, okay, let's just say, for instance, $20,000 roof. You got an estimate for $20,000. This is hurricane. I'm going to use a hurricane example. Your deductible is $5,000. Roof is 12 years old. Insurance company wants to take 50% depreciation. So that means 50% off of 20 is going to be 10. And then the 5,000, right, deductible. So at this point, you're going to be left with 5,000. It's not really worth it. Now you take the same example, and let's just say it's a $2,500 deductible. Okay. If you're not in Florida, maybe they take less depreciation. So a $20,000 roof, $2,500 deductible, 2.5. Let's just say there's the same $10,000 depreciation. So you're going to be left with $7,500, right? So I know that's terrible handwriting. So you got to make sure the math makes sense. Find out what the depreciation is, what your deductible could be. Negotiate the depreciation. The only reason and the only way you negotiate depreciation is by email saying that's way too much. So you're taking too much. This roof was in good shape. Just because the old doesn't mean it's in bad shape. And that's our argument that the oldest try using is because of the age of it. So a couple things you need to do or should do or can do when you're trying to get the insurance company to pay. Number one, you want to get your roofer to write on the estimate that the roof needs to be replaced due to whatever the situation might be, the wind, the hail, or the tree falling on it from wind. Okay? If possible, if the roofer can be there during the inspection with the claim adjuster and film it, great, do it. Especially if the adjuster is going to get up on the roof. To substantiate damage, look online. Just put in, let's just say you live in Waterloo, Iowa. There's this bad storm. Put in storm damage, Waterloo, Iowa, July 1st, 2024. See what pops up when you use these articles to show the insurance company. Some other things. So if you're a roofer, if he can't be there for an inspection, have him mark and take photos of the damaged areas. Most of them use chalk, but you don't have to use chalk. They can use other things. You want to make sure on what you do at the insurance company. It would take 5 minutes if it's only your roof damage. There's a program that everybody uses. All the insurance companies, all the public adjusters. It's called Xactimate. Take 5 minutes to put your roof information in there. The squares, the way they drop down the boxes and everything. Okay? Takes 5 minutes. If he's not doing the estimate right there, they're probably going to deny your claim. So this is a telltale sign right here. They're doing the estimate. If he's got his little computer in his hand when he's on the roof, laptop, or when he comes back down off the roof and he says, well, I'm done. So wait a minute. Aren't you going to do an estimate? So if he tells you, well, I'll do it later, say, listen, I'm pretty sure this only takes 5 minutes. I'd appreciate if you do it now, if you're going to pay for it. Don't tell me you're going to pay for it and leave and then you lie. So that's why sometimes recording this is very important. So now you want to submit your roofing estimate, whatever the contractor for the roof, if it's a roofer, fine, or a general contractor, whoever you're having do the roof, having given your estimate with the wording as I talked about before, a roof needs to be replaced due to whatever that situation may be. Then you wait to hear from the insurance company. In the meantime, you also want to ask them for a copy of their estimate and a coverage determination letter at some point. Usually if they get the estimate and they'll get back to you on something, that will be their coverage determination letter, either accepting the claim, denying the claim, partially accepting the claim, partially denying the claim. Or if they're going to have the infamous roofing engineer come out. Just so you know, if they want to bring an engineer, they're going to deny your claim. So just get ready for that. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. And roofing claims, especially in Florida, in Florida, they almost deny every roofing claim. You got to sue them. But other parts of the country can be so-so. I know it's been getting tougher because I get a lot of phone calls from you guys on this. Especially a lot of the southern states like Texas, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina. There isn't a lot that comes from the Midwest. I think there's a variety of reasons for that, but yes, roofing claims are much, much, much more difficult. In Florida, it's impossible without a lawsuit, basically. If the only damage is simply to the roof, you're going to be put in a very difficult situation. Let me explain. If you have a $15,000 roof, and let's just say there was a wind event, wasn't a hurricane, your deductible is $2,500. So $12,500 would be the most you could get paid out on a claim. Maybe a little bit of depreciation, so let's just say it's $10,000 payout. The tough thing about that is, if they deny your claim, okay, and you want to fight them, there's not many attorneys that are going to go to bat and want to take this case on for $10,000. They're only going to make a couple thousand. And, but in Florida now, because of the fee arrangement, they would get a couple thousand, or you take it to trial and you win, then all the attorney fees are paid for. But most of these settle. So you're put in a situation because if they settle, your attorneys are going to take $3,000-4,000 out of this $10,000. You're going to be left with $6,000 or $7,000. So these insurance companies know it because they put something on every claim called a reserve, which is basically what they believe their amount of exposure is for that claim. They have to have reserves because it's reported to the state to make sure that they have enough money to pay for claims. So if they know your claim isn't worth a lot, they can actually play around with you a little bit when it comes to roof damage claims. Water damage claims is a little bit harder, but they could come up with other reasons not to pay you. But if it's only your roof, it does become a situation where, is there enough money there, if you have to sue them, if your claim's denied, that you can get an attorney to pursue this on your behalf. The other thing I probably should have put in the last point in the previous slide or two, when I was talking about what you can do. One other thing you want to do is if you have multiple neighbors in the area that have suffered some type of roof damage or any other type of wind damage, to show the insurance company, your insurance company, that there were other people who also sustained wind damage. Get an affidavit. right? Just say, hey, do you mind writing something up? And all it has to be is, my name's Mr. Jones at 11111 Elk Court in Mishawaka, Indiana. And on this date, we suffered wind damage to our roof and, wherever else. If there was fence or lanai or soffits, gutters, whatever. If it's only the roof, they can put only the roof. And you can send that to the insurance company. That becomes pretty powerful. So that also helps. But all in all, everybody, it's just not easy with roof claims when it's only your roof. And people in Florida, we're screwed every which way. Get help, as I usually say from the beginning, especially if you're in Florida. You can't handle any claim in Florida without getting help because these insurance companies are just so bad. So once again, my name is Mike Keeler. I'm a licensed public adjuster in the state of Florida. Have any questions? Need help with a claim? This is how you can get a hold of me. Thank you.